Hey, JC, can you hear me?
Hi,
Okay?
Brand. Yeah.
Thanks for opening the meeting. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time for the students to get everything working, so I usually try to open a little early.
I'll just make you the host right now.
Thank you. I'm
All
on
right.
the space station.
Okay.
Yeah, I know it's late there. Ed, that's fine.
Mhm. All
You're
right.
welcome to stay, as long as you want to. But I hate to make you work so late.
I think I'll just wait until the students are here, like at least one of them.
Okay. Hopefully it'll be Martin and Allie.
Oh, yeah. For today.
Martin. Yeah, we have some more signups for next week also. I'm happy to
Yeah.
see.
I think Evelina will be in charge for the meetings next week.
Okay,
Yeah.
appreciate your support. Yeah, we have 4 signups for next week, including that teacher in Spain, Maria Jesus Paramo.
Oh, also a teacher?
Yeah, well, she's probably signing up for her students
Oh, all right.
because she wants her students to practice. And,
Mm,
you know, sometimes the teacher will wait for the students to do things. And if they don't do it, well, she'll do it for them.
mm.
She's on the last slot on Sunday night.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw it.
10:45 in Hong Kong.
Mm.
Yesterday, the student was presenting Marco Lee,
Yeah.
and his family was washing dishes in the background. You could hear them clinking the dishes together, clink, clink. Well, at least it's only practice, right?
Yeah.
But I know what it's like in Hong Kong. And sometimes your desk is not too far from the kitchen.
hmm
Flats are so small in Hong Kong.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, about the other session at 9:30, do you think you just let it like keep recording until 9:30 or
Do I have ability to control that?
I don't think so. You can either like let it record until 9:30 or I have to start another meeting.
Well, if there's a long break, it's up to you. I would rather, I don't have control over it, so I would rather, normally what I would do is just record for when there's students presenting and
Mhm.
then record, stop the recording and start a different recording when another group. That's what I did for the practices back in June.
Mhm.
And that way I could give the recordings to the students because it was just their group.
Mm. All right. Let me think about it.
Up to you. Just let it run. It's probably fine. It probably won't even take up much file space because not much action, right? There won't be
Yeah.
much talking or movement.
Yeah, and there's like 15 minutes in between. So I guess that's
Oh,
fine.
at least. You're talking about tonight?
Yeah, just tonight.
Tonight, yeah, you're right. There's 15 minutes in between. So yeah, just let it run.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
fine. Yeah, don't worry about it. It's just practice. I just hope that it's not a big difference when we use the webinar version. Remember, Tushar was talking
Yeah.
about if it's something very different, the students may be a little bit, lost. Maybe we
Overwhelmed,
can.
yeah.
I hope not. Maybe we can get them to practice before the conference.
I think we'll just send you another email to see um, how it goes after the trial meeting on 7th.
Okay,
Yeah.
sounds good. Hello, Martin, Hallie.
Hey there.
Good to see you. Well, if you turn on your video, I can see you.
I don't have a camera here.
Okay, no problem. Can you share your screen?
Sure. Okay.
You might want to, when you do your actual presentation, you might want to have a webcam ready.
Yeah, I do have one in my other home.
Okay, that's fine. You might want to practice again next weekend just to make sure that that setup works perfectly.
Sure.
Okay, Ali, are you there also?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, good. As a backup, when Martin's finished, I'd like you to test your ability to share your screen also.
Sure, okay.
Okay, Martin, whenever you're ready.
Okay, so welcome and thank you for attending our presentation. Today I'm going to present you a big project that that myself and my team have been working on for the past few months. And it is about green urban environments, especially how we can better our environment and how we can better our living, like the way we live, so that we live more sustainably. Here are my team members. You can see Ali, who is also there right now. And then there's Turnboss, Victor Lepping, Vishwa Rudresh, and Saran Bhaskar. We've been cooperating across multiple continents even, because those people are from India, Netherlands, we're from France. And I'm happy to present you our final presentation. Is it fine if I show a video?
Sure.
Wait, I might have to turn on computer audio. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Okay, and okay, should be working.
Hello everyone.
Can you hear it?
Yes, I
Victor
can.
Lepping of Untitled. Our team has been working on a city plan. I'm here to present to you
Good.
our final product, our own green urban environment. This particular green urban environment will be following the Harris and Ullman model of multiple nuclei. This signifies that our city is divided into multiple zones, each one of them having their own role in the city. They grow independently from one another, which prevents unplanned urban growth and overpopulation. This allows our urban environment to regulate its land use wisely and in a very structured manner. Furthermore, the advantages of this model is that industrial zones, which tend to pollute urban environments, are located far away from densely populated areas. Additionally, the industrial zone in this urban environment is powered by geothermal or solar energy, which causes minimal pollution. Naturally, the whole city uses renewable resources to minimize emissions. On top of that, with a structured and organized mapping of different zones or nuclei, our city is able to reduce the amount of waste and control its agriculture. It is of the utmost importance for our city to implement the use of recyclable packaging, biogas and geothermal energy. Littering is not tolerated in a green urban environment, therefore such action will have substantial fines. Our streets look as green as the picture above, if not any greener. As it comes to attention, streets have absolutely no litter. In addition to that, we support the construction of bicycle paths to reduce car use. Along with the bicycle paths, our green urban environment has a public transportation network, consisting of an underground metro and more, that has no additional fees and no usage price. Its funding is met by the taxes received by the state. Apart from the network, bus lines are an efficient transportation vehicle. They are powered from biogas. The red nuclei, first picture, is the Central Business District, CBD, urban environment. It is the economic heart of the city and incorporates all of the businesses. With the construction of parks around and inside the CBD, we are avoiding overcrowded environments for the citizens of the city. The purple zone corresponds to the high-density residential zone. It encompasses a considerable amount of it is a sustainable residential area using renewable resources. The commuter areas are as peaceful and sustainable as our CBD, high-density residential area, but they offer a much more suitable living environment for people working in agriculture. As it is located further away from the CBD, transportation to other parts of the city are free and therefore cause no distress to the commuters. The vertical buildings include farms to reduce land use and between and inside zones. There are uninhabited zones where the nature and biodiversity of the environment is preserved. Suburbs follow the same idea, preserving wildlife and forest. In conclusion, our green urban environment is completely sustainable, only using renewable resources, preserves nature and biodiversity, increases waste and littering, offers free and zero emission transportation, and regulates land use agriculture, and controls urban growth to prevent overpopulating. It is a great example that is all possible to achieve.
Our website is also filled with additional information, such as the whole script of the whole text that Victor was just reading, and another presentation created by our friends over in India. But this one is pretty long, so it won't fit in the 5-minute time frame. And there's also pictures and as a minor explication of the multiple nuclei model and green urban spaces. And thank you for listening. I will share this the website link with you. And do you have any questions?
Martin, keep in mind you have 15 minutes, not 5 minutes.
I thought we had okay, yeah, then I'll be able to show it.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so the main objectives of a green city would be proper city planning to ensure that it'll be sustainable in the long term, efficient energy management and conservation of energy, and maintaining the green in the city, as those are the main points where cities usually fail during development. Proper city planning, but we mean that we want to develop the lives of our people by increasing the health standards. So keep them. Yeah.
Can you make this slide bigger?
Wait. Yep. Sure.
There you go. Much better.
Yeah. So we want to keep people away from polluting industries and factors that would prevent proper city planning, as they cause diseases among people and just overall noise, stress, not what you'd want in a city. Then some factories dump their waste without treating them, which would pollute rivers and thus hurt wildlife. That's also a thing we want to avoid. And proper city planning would solve those issues. Yeah, we don't mean town planning in not per se, but planning based on sectors, that we keep sectors such as explained in the Harris-Ullman model of a city. And that's what we explained in the video. Yeah, and we also want to keep industry separate from residential zones because of the proximity, as mentioned before. Yeah, this is the Harris-Ullman model. It's just a model. It doesn't necessarily have to be one-to-one, but there should be separation between residential zones and industrial suburbs and those sort of things, to avoid mixing those up and to ensure proper development in the long term. Yeah, if you see the industrials is in red, then there's energy in yellow, and that's all separated from the houses, separated from residential zone, which is blue. Few more images.
When you say in red, you mean that thin blue line or thin red line? Yeah. You
Yeah.
might want to explain that.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, we highlighted it here, as you can see. Also here. So it's just to make sure that even in the long run, it can build itself, it can become larger without accumulating more problems, which you'd have if you mixed up residential zones and industrial sectors, for example.
So more sustainable growth.
Yeah, not only more sustainable growth, but just enabling growth in general, because if you have a factory inside the city, such as you'd have in London, for example, because of Victorian times, it's really hard to let that grow without hurting the population even more.
Good
And
point.
we also mandate efficient energy management and conservation of energy, because a growing population will have a bigger need for energy, but we want to ensure that that energy comes from renewable, or at least at least sources that will not hurt us in the long run as much as, for example, coal or fossil fuels in general.
So you're looking for non-carbon based energy production?
If possible, or energy which you'd find commonly, such as hydrogen, or you could help, like, to ensure that it grows enough, you could start off with something like nuclear energy, but it's not renewable, thus we don't mandate that. And yeah, we want to ensure that everyone is able to use public transport, thus the prices have to be affordable, unlike some places in Earth, and thus it can be used by a population to ensure that there's not so many cars in the city and not so many traffic jams, that it's just overall a smoother experience, like you'd have in a lot of places in Asia, as cities become so large that it's unsustainable or even impossible to have cars inside the city. And we also want, if possible, to remove the reliance on gasoline, fossil fuels, even in public transport. Thus, we'd have, for example, buses driving on eco-gas, or electric buses, or even trams, underground railways, that sort of stuff. Then we want to, with the increase in population, there's an increasing rise in the demand of consumption of energy, and we want to make sure that comes from sources that will not hurt us in the long run. Especially emissions hurt us, but also just the overall lack of it, which you'd see in the future, which could eventually pose a huge problem to us. Those are non-conventional sources of energy or renewable sources of energy, which you could find in a city, which would help against that. For example, wind energy, as the wind usually never stops. Solar energy or ocean thermal energy conversion, tidal energy are all energy sources that are renewable and that will not hurt us in the long run. Or biogas generation even. For example, you could have a biogas plant inside the city, or that uses the wastewater created by us humans in order to create biogas. And they conserve natural resources, which, if science allows for it to happen, could be used in a more sustainable way if we really need them, but not now. That's why non-conventional sources of energy have to be used. Those are some videos, but you can watch them if you get on a website, but they're pretty long, and I'll continue the presentation from now on. Yeah, to maintain the green in the city, we want to plant trees, for example, but we also want to conserve the trees, the woods, the green in the city that we already have. Thus, we want to avoid removing it at any cost. Thus, you could see this as just just building new houses on top of other houses, for example, like just using space that is already used in a better way, or making building high rises so that you don't take as much of the land as you would by using new land. And yeah, this would also reduce pollution by a substantial amount and would make people happier. There's ecological balance which has to be maintained, and if we cut down the trees, if if we remove the woods, if we remove natural land, this will hurt the balance. Thus, we want to conserve it as much as possible. And some cities even have a lot of animals, which would in turn really get hurt by the removing of their habitat. Yeah, there's multiple ways that we can increase green. For example, planting trees or building parks, such as one of the largest unnatural parks, the Central Park, or rooftop gardening, for example. But we could also properly maintain and make sure that existing green is not hurt.
1 minute, Martin.
Yeah.
You have 1 more minute.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's another example. Those are examples of rooftop gardening or green alleys. And that's it. Thank you for listening to this presentation. And yeah, as said, there are additional resources inside on the website, and we'll share that with you. Are there any questions?
Good. I don't think we're going to have a Q&A on the actual
Okay.
day of presentations. Let's see, I had some other notes for you. The video is very well done. Ali, were you the one that was narrating that video?
That
No,
was
I wrote the script.
Victor Lapping.
Ah,
Yeah,
very good.
Victor is talking.
Yeah, now notice the way when Victor was narrating that video, it sounded very professional and like he had a script. Martin, you're doing a good job. Yeah,
Victor
obviously he had a
did have it.
script.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And it sounded very well planned and well thought out. Martin, you're doing a good job. You're obviously a smart guy, but you can tell that you're sort of just talking off the top of your head. You're trying to think up, you know, should you use the word explain or explicable, things like that. You know, you were kind of exploring, and that's what practice sessions are for. What I'd recommend, make sure you maximize your slides. A couple of times your fonts were too small, and try to focus on the ideas as you go through the slides. Rather than get down into too much detail, try to hit the high points. And another idea I have
the
is
important parts.
yeah, just hit the important parts. And what I'd recommend is that you and Ali, or maybe some other people in your group, get together and practice this. The more times you run through this slide and the more times that you explain it and get feedback and questions, then you'll feel smoother and the words will come more easily, just from my experience. And then if you want to practice again next weekend, happy to give you another 15-minute slot so that you know how much time and you can practice what you want to say. And you want it to come off smooth and confident. Right now, you're kind of just exploring, you know, you're like, well, I think this, or it looks like this, and we were talking about this.
Yeah, I did not prepare the slides at all, as I assumed there to be only 5 minutes.
Yeah, I'm glad you have 15 minutes because I think each group deserves more than 5 minutes for all the work that they put in. But as I said, go ahead, Ali.
Yeah, so as Martin's the presenter, as a backup presenter, should I only be prepared if Martin is absent, or should I also add in some information while Martin is presenting?
Hey, I'm fine with that. If you guys want to work it out so that you take turns on the slides, that's fine by me. I think that's interesting sometimes when you have one voice on one idea and a different voice on another idea. It kind of avoids that monotonous same person all the time, and people lose interest. So I've team taught with another teacher before, and it does keep the students' interest better if you have two voices that are well practiced and you know when it's time to take turns, so you don't talk over each other.
All right. Well, I think we can plan that with Martin, and I think it should be okay. And yeah.
Yeah, I also practice the slides as there was. It's been a long while since I've seen them.
Yes, it has
especially
been
because I did not create it. It makes it even harder.
Right. Well, you might want to call a meeting with the who did it, Vishwa and Saran. Is that who created it?
Yeah, they did.
Call a Zoom meeting with them and go through it with them. You know, I'm fine with as many voices as you want to have, but you need to coordinate with us so we know who to set up as presenters. On the actual day of the presentation, it's going to be a different type of meeting. It's a 3-tiered webinar where you have participants who show up and they can never talk. They just watch and they don't have video rights. And then you have presenters who have microphone and video rights, and then you have hosts. So it's 3 levels. So we're going to hopefully have that all working on the day of the presentation. But the more prepared you are and the more that you've worked with us, I recommend that you show up again next weekend and practice. Go ahead and reserve another time slot if you want to, and give it another go just for practice.
All right.
Up to
Okay,
you.
we'll talk that out with the group.
Yeah,
Yeah,
then.
we'll talk that out with the rest of the group.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll
I
see
realize
what they prefer.
it has been a long time. How many months has it been since you guys were on this project?
Maybe like
4
6
months?
months.
6 months? Yeah, long
Yes.
time. So
I was also kind of sad that we didn't get to go to Hong Kong.
I know we kept hoping that we could fly you guys all in and put you up in hotels, and you could, you know, tour the wonders of Hong Kong. You know, go to Disneyland.
No, I could have practiced my reading, as yeah, I'm not that good at traditional Chinese Mandarin.
Oh, you can speak and you can read Chinese?
Yeah, Hanzi.
My kids can read the traditional fonts. Can you read traditional or just the simplified?
I can read traditional. It's just like weirder. There's more to the Hanzi themselves, which makes it harder.
Definitely. A lot
But
more strokes.
but I've noticed that I can read Japanese in kanji because
That's right.
it comes from Hanzi. So yeah, that's something I could have practiced in Hong Kong.
Yes.
But yeah.
No, I wish you guys could have come out. I lived there for 16 years. I've left and gone back to the U.S. now, but you're well aware of all the political unrest in Hong Kong, plus, you know, all the COVID quarantines coming and going, right? So it's just not practical. And if you're going to talk about save the planet and, you know, don't burn carbon fuel, it's kind of ridiculous to fly everybody in and with all those jet fuel exhausts, you know. So it's a sign of the times.
Yeah, we'll practice this with our group.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
We'll see
go
that.
ahead and share your screen again, please.
Okay, sure.
And then I want to test this. So what I plan to do is I will stop my video, and then when you have 1 minute left, rather than break into audio, I will hold up a sign that says 1 minute left.
Or just start your video again.
Yeah, I will start my video. Okay, you mean just pop in, and maybe I'll go like this. How's that?
Yeah, that's good.
Work. And then when it's time's up, I'll go like this. And then if at worst case, I hope to be able to do this. Voila. So that'll happen at 16 minutes. And then at very worst case, it would be like that. So, but obviously, you know, we want to give a fair amount of time to everybody. So that's my plan. But the idea is that
it'll be all right.
Okay, sounds good. Well, the more you practice, the easier it'll be for you to hit that 15-minute mark, you know, where you get all your ideas in and you don't go over. Because when I was working with Cycle 2 and practicing with them back in June, you know, one group would say, can we just have 17 minutes? And the next group, can we just have 19 minutes? And the next group, well, we just need 25 minutes, you know. And then one group said, well, we have a 2-hour slideshow. And I was like, come on, guys.
2 hours. Oh my God.
2 hours. Yeah, you know, they put all the work in. They want to show it. But, you know, you got to keep it reasonable.
All right. Well, thank you.
For coming today. Yep. And hopefully I'll see you again next weekend. Up to you. But as I said, you might want to get together and practice on each other and discuss what are the high points, what are the key ideas of your proposal, so you don't get bogged down into little details. The video is very well done. Victor did a great job listen to way his voice, he knows exactly what he wants to say. And ideally, you would sound just as confident when it comes your turn to present or take turns presenting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Okay,
Okay.
guys?
Thank you.
All right, take care.
Bye.
See you later. Hello, Victoria, Lulu. Can you hear me?
Oh, yep, I can hear you.
Excellent. As you can see, I'm on the beach here in Hawaii. Weather is perfect. I wish. Pretty late in Hong Kong.
9:30 p.m. I think it's okay.
Hong Kong students love to stay up late.
Hi.
Hello, Annette.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Where are you located?
I'm also in Hong Kong.
Oh, very good. How
Mhm.
about Lulu? Where is she?
Is Lulu in our group?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I didn't recognize the name, but it's open, so I'm not sure. Lulu, can you hear us? Well, she's not muted, but we'll see. Maybe Lulu is a secret hacker. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Oh, bye-bye, Lulu. Okay, guys, whenever you're ready, you can get started.
Okay, I'll share my screen.
Mhm.
Hold on. Oh, I don't think I'm allowed to share my screen.
Take a look down at the bottom, the green button,
Mhm.
right in the middle.
Wait, sorry, hold on.
Should be between chat and closed caption.
Wait, sorry. Sorry, I'll be back in 1 second.
Okay. That's why we're here to practice.
So how are you, Brent?
Very good. It's been a long time since I talked to Cycle 1 students.
Oh, yeah. Is the cycle 2 still ongoing or?
Well, we did a lot of practicing in June, and then through July, we've just been kind of waiting to see what happens with coronavirus and everything. But finally, I convinced them that we should just do an online conference rather than do nothing.
Okay. Yeah.
So, been
Yeah,
a long time though.
Yeah, that's true. But at least we have a conference in the end.
Yes, and you can present your ideas and we can make videos and I'll make a compilation of the presentations and hopefully we can share it at a UN conference, an environmental conference, or at an academic conference, you know, get your ideas out to the world.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good.
I know you guys have put a lot of work and time into this and hopefully it's kind of given you more vision towards a better life and a better way, you know, sustainable development, right? That's the main.
Yeah. I think we had a lot of ideas, and for our presentation, it was just like compressing it into 15 minutes and organizing them into like, yeah.
I just had Morton on 10, 15 minutes ago, and he thought it was only 5 minutes. So after 5 minutes, he said, okay, I think it's been 5 minutes. I'm like, don't 15 minutes, Martin. 15.
Yeah.
But it does take practice to hit that, right? To feel confident with how much time you have. And so the more practice you have, the better.
I agree.
Hi, Justin.
Oh,
Hello.
he's connecting.
Wait, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we hear you fine.
Can you guys see my screen? I've shared my screen as well.
Yes.
Yeah, that works.
Very happy to see it. Can you see my thumb?
Yep.
Okay, when it's 14 minutes, I'll hold up, I'll turn off my video while you're presenting. And then at 14 minutes, I'll enable my video and hold up one finger like this.
Okay.
And then at 15 minutes exactly, again, I'll turn it on and I'll hold up my hand like this that's a 0. And then at 16 minutes, I'll remove your ability to share and mute your microphone. So try to hit it around 15, not too far over,
Okay.
whenever you're ready.
You want to start?
Yeah, I should be ready.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Hi everyone. I'm going to represent Gruen Team 4 today, and I'm going to present our ideas on how to create a green city. So our team is consisted of 6 members. Me, Annette, and Victoria are from Hong Kong. Justin and Jason are from Indonesia, and Irene and Ivan are from Europe. So our presentation is going to be separated into 3 main parts. The first one would be the problems we face. The second one, we will be presenting our criteria, and then lastly, we'll be presenting our solutions. So first, let's talk about the problems that we are facing in our cities right now. As of 2019, there's around 55.7% of the world population living in urban areas, and our resources are continuously being depleted at the same time. For example, it's estimated that there's only 50 years of oil reserves left before we run out. So there's this high demand of resources that we need, while there's a low supply with a lot of energy strains and exploitation of resources. Plus, in urban cities, there's a lot of increased pollution, that is affecting our health, and we have to make sure that we cannot reach the different tipping points of global warming, or else we cannot go back to the society that we have right now. And it'll be very hard to repair our damage we did to the environment. So these problems all pressure the government to design a green and sustainable urban city with long-term solutions to mitigate the impacts of our climate crisis. And our team has identified 2 major problems at hand. The first one would be health of citizens, where this is the very main essential part we have to focus on to create a healthy society. And it would also affect the workforce efficiency of a city or country, and subsequently the economy of that place. And the second point would be the loss of natural capital and biodiversity. Since we are mostly, and if not all, dependent on the resources that we take from nature, we have to make sure that we don't deplete our resources and turn everyone against each other into fighting for resources, which would lead to a very worrying future, and there would be a lot of environmental dangers we'd be facing as well. And in light of COVID-19 in 2020, there's also 2 environmental problems that we're facing. The first one would be the plastic waste we're generating with the amount of takeout that we buy and a lot of plastic packaging that's involved. And the second point would be the increased use of electricity, since many people are using the internet to stay connected with our society. So these both require us to have better systems for recycling and more sustainable energy. So let's move on to our criterias. We have 4 criterias, and the first one would be air quality. This heavily affects citizens' health, and a lot of people are having more and more breathing problems and visiting emergency rooms because of the high pollution levels we face in cities. And these are mainly caused by car emissions or burning of fossil fuels in industrial processes. We'd also like to bring attention, next slide. Yeah, we also like to bring attention to the link between transportation and air quality, since around 22% of CO2 emissions are caused by the transport sector, and we cannot overlook this part. So the second point of our criteria would be water quality, since water is a source of life, and us humans and animals and plants are all dependent on water. and we use water for daily practices such as like drinking, farming, or cleaning. So we cannot overlook the waste disposal we do in our water sources, which would have like fertilizers or toxic industrial chemicals. And for more serious problems, we'd be looking at eutrophication, which could affect our farming and food source. And the third criteria would be to protect our biodiversity. Since biodiversity contributes to our natural capital, we have to minimize our disturbance to our natural areas and different natural habitats when we develop our urban cities and areas. And the last criteria would be eco-innovation, which is the new methods, ideas, and products we create, which would be harmless against the environment. So this is connected to all the other criteria, and it can encourage the community to be more aware of what we're doing to our environment. And it could give us a lot of ideas on how to solve the problems we face. And it would also create job opportunities and stimulate the economy. So what are the solutions that we've come up with to check off all these lists in our criteria? So we're going to be separating them into 4 categories, and the first category would be residential areas. So we want to create more people-friendly neighborhoods, which are areas that are focused for residential uses other than for other uses such as commercial, industrial, or transportation uses. This would increase the quality of our residential areas. And we also noticed that we would be having more and more competition for space as our urban populations are increasing. So we want to utilize our rooftop spaces as much as possible by adding solar panels or even green gardens or farms. So this could educate our young generations on how to farm and create our own food source. And we would want to integrate some native plant or animal species into urban neighborhoods as well to protect the biodiversity seen in different parts of our world. So to create a circular economy, there would be an input and output, and the resources would be the input and with the waste as the output. So for resource management, we would want to have tariffs and campaigns hosted by the government to encourage more and more production of renewable energy. And it's very hard to transition from fossil fuels into renewable energy, but we believe that we can have a slow but steady transition, and it would be the easiest way we could do this transition. Some examples are solar panels or biofuel, which are very good sustainable energy sources. So a tariff in Germany, this policy allows citizens to sell electricity generated by renewable power to government and other companies, and they could receive payments that are higher than the retail price. So this could help with the transition from fossil fuels to sustainable energy, since it offsets the disadvantages of implementing renewable energy, and they could see more benefits in doing so. But the government may not have enough financial capacity to grant these tariffs, so there must be support from other companies and organizations. And the circular economy also includes the output, which is waste management. And we think that there should be more strict government supervision in industrial waste treatments, with a lot of tax subsidies or grants to encourage these proper waste management. And some filtration systems can also be implemented by third member companies to limit some pollutants from entering our atmosphere or water sources. And biofuel and composting are very good examples to change our waste into energy. And a very good case study is in Sweden, where they turn their waste into energy. And we can see from this case study that the benefits and convenience in changing in implementing these systems are very important to drive people to embrace this change, where they would have some incinerators to turn food waste into biofuel and generate electricity and heating. And there's also a policy where citizens can receive money for recycling cans and PET bottles. And the next part would be the communal waste management, which we should also have implemented in more neighborhoods, where these are smaller sized waste management, so it would be easier to encourage people to make this change, and we could relieve stress on landfills. So one example would be the neighborhood recycling initiatives like Waste No Mall. And the last point we have is the transportation in a green city. So we want to add more bicycle rental systems, just like the Valib system in France. And we have to increase the quality of roads and transport systems as well to encourage people to change from their old modes of transport into greener modes of transport, such as wider streets to allow safety for cyclists, or just cleaner and safer public transport spaces. For heavy traffic areas, we can also add some congestion fees to encourage people to walk or use public transport instead of using private cars, and this would decrease the air pollution and carbon emissions as well. And the last point we have is the green shipping, where we could encourage companies to do bulk deliveries and have more greener packaging. And if they increase their company transparency in their shipping processes, some more consumers could turn to use these companies and buy their products because of their eco perspective. So there's a case study called the Barcelona Superblocks, where they would limit the number of cars crossing city centers and residential areas. And this has a lot of good outcomes, and these would include, next slide. Yeah, these would include the reduction of pollution from residential areas, such as, and also more pedestrian space, and it would just increase the overall quality of residential areas and better the health of citizens. And for electrical cars, we can introduce these to companies where the government may grant them tax benefits for having electrical company cars instead of normal cars that run on other fuel. But we have to take note of the source of electricity in different cities, because sometimes they may be non-renewable. And some other solutions we thought of would be more eco-innovation and encouragement to drive these ideas from people. So more bursaries and financial aid for eco startups and businesses, and more competitions and workshops hosted to help young minds to raise awareness and let them think about how to protect and help the environment, just like Gruen. And some wildlife sanctuaries would also be very great in cities to protect and maintain the numbers of native species we have. And it would just balance out the ecosystem we would have in cities. So to conclude, when we plan for an urban city, we have to take account of all the environmental aspects, since these would all affect our lives as well, and they're all interconnected. So a nexus approach should be used, where the government would take account of all criterias without, and not just one criteria when they develop urban cities. And eco-innovation could also assist in a lot of transitioning, where these new ideas could help us to transition from unsustainable systems to a greener approach on how to run a city. And all in all, it's very important to stop and slow down the damage that we're making to the environment since um, we have to deal with these in the long term as anyways. So it's just better to look at the big picture instead of just looking at the short term causes and solutions. And so the impacts of global warming must be minimized when building a green city. Thank you for listening.
Okay, very good. Perfect timing. One suggestion I'd have, I thought the bit about the Barcelona super blocks was really good. That's a local initiative. Lots of times it's difficult, and the federal government can be very slow to
Yeah.
bring in initiatives, but that's a neighborhood, right, who's deciding no more cars, more pedestrians, better quality of life. So I think that's a good point. Your slides are good, your voice is good. You have a little bit of background noise, so you'll have to make an agreement with the people you live there with to, you know, try not to be in your background. But overall, I'd give it a really good rating, you know, feedback. Your voice is very
Okay.
clear. One note I'd give you is that I think it always helps to put a face to the voice, and it's up to you guys if you want to share your webcams. But you know, we want the voices of bright young people to be heard, and part of that is, you know, your bright young faces. So if you want to share, obviously lighting is key. I have pretty good lighting here. You don't have to show your real background, right? That's one thing I like about Zoom. You can have an animated background, or oh, as a matter of fact, we're going to give you guys backgrounds that have the logos for Hong Kong Baptist and Erasmus
Okay.
Plus, you know, kind of like F1 branding by the sponsors.
Oh.
So that's what I hear, is they want to do that. But how do you guys feel about sharing your webcams? At least when you first introduce yourselves, I think it'd be good to show all your faces. And then afterwards, when you, at the thank you point from your group, I think you should all show your webcams. But that's up to you. It's your choice.
Okay, we can talk about that, and yeah, maybe we can open our webcams in the official conference.
Yeah, up to you. Another aspect is that this is cross-cultural. So you have a lot of different people coming from different parts of the world, and you can see that in their faces. You have Asian faces, and Indian faces, and white faces, and black faces. So I think it's very interesting to be able to show that multicultural aspect to the judges.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Just my recommendation, but you know, hey, it's up to you. Privacy versus, you know, openness, transparency, I guess you might say. But
Yeah, that's
I
true.
realize it's easy to be shy, and you know, if you don't want to, that's totally your call.
Yeah, we'll probably think about it before we
Sure.
yeah,
Yes.
we join the
Yeah.
conference.
Always good to think about it. Get a group consensus going
Yeah,
and see
yeah.
what you guys want to do. But it takes a bit of practice, right? You know, have your webcams up at the
Yeah.
start, and then everybody shuts down except the speaker. I would leave yours on the whole time, and that if you're going to be narrating it, it's
That's
just
true, that's true.
more personal to see their mouth moving and the voice coming. So
Okay.
up to you. But we have lots of spaces open for next weekend if you guys want to practice again. But I think you did really well.
Thanks. Were there any confusing parts in our presentation?
Well, I think one time you said population, you meant pollution. Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
okay.
So that's just a matter of practice, you know, so that I know it's been a long time since you guys made this slideshow.
Yeah.
6 months or something. So,
We had
you
to like
know,
warm up to it too.
exactly. So if you run through it, if you have time to run through it a couple more times, practice on each other. You're welcome to come back next weekend and practice this again, you know, online. Up to you. But there's plenty of time slots open if you want to book one.
All right. Yeah, we'll think about it.
Okay, sure.
Thanks.
Well, thank you guys for coming.
Yeah,
And,
thank you for listening to us too.
Sure, and best of luck on the actual presentation. You guys are on September 10th. Does that sound right?
I think so.
I think so. and then the third day is for like Q&A with the judges, that kind of thing.
Oh, so the Q&A would be a different day, or?
I believe so. I don't think they've scheduled any Q&A time after each presentation, which is probably good because, you know, you guys have a fair amount of pressure already doing your presentation. So I don't know. We'll see what the administrators say. But
Okay.
as far as I know, they've scheduled all the Q&A on the third day.
Oh, okay. So the first 2 days would be mostly presentations?
Yes, I think they're going to have some like opening remarks from the PI Tushar at Hong Kong Baptist. I think the judges might introduce themselves.
All
I'm
right.
not sure if they're going to give a short presentation. I forget exactly what the plan is, but Cycle 1 students on the first day, Cycle 2 students on the second day, and the third day is for Q&A, awarding of prizes, that kind of thing.
Oh, okay. Is there like a big difference between the Cycle 1 students and Cycle 2 students?
Cycle 1 had a lot of more European students and more Hong Kong students, and I think Cycle 2 is mostly from India.
Oh, okay.
We had a few other students show up for Cycle 2. I think there's some Hong Kong students in there as well, but a lot more Indian students because, you know, they have a huge push for sustainable development. Obviously, in India, there's reasons, you know, desperate need to clean up their cities. So I think the teachers were kind of thinking about it during Cycle 1, and by the time Cycle 2 came, a lot of teachers said, let's get our students interested, or at least, you know, gave out the link and said if you'd like to join, because we had a lot of signups for Cycle 2 from India.
All right. So if we have more questions, would we be able to reach you?
Sure. You can always send me messages on the platform, the Gruen Workshop, or you can send directly to my email if it's something long or you want to have attachments. But if it's just short questions, it's easier for me to keep it all kind of on the platform because I know it's a good record, right? If I look back through my emails, it's hard to find a conversation sometimes. But if it's about Gruen and you send me a message using the Moodle workshop, then it's right there, and it'll send me an email just to, you know, let me know there's a message waiting for me.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll email you if
But
you did.
great. Yeah, let me know if you have any questions. Happy to help. Jason,
Right.
Justin, you guys, are you there? Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, good, good. Well, you guys talk about it and see if you want to share your webcams. I think it'd be nice to see your faces. Yay, Victoria. Wow, I didn't know you played basketball.
It's right front of my school gym.
Oh, that's excellent. Yeah, I think they will give us a special background for the presentation, one with logos, right? But yeah, good to see your face. I think it helps a lot to put faces to names, faces to voices, but up to you, your call.
Okay.
Okay, sure.
All right, guys, good to see you.
Yeah, thanks for the rehearsal.
Sure, and if you want to show up again next weekend, please feel free to book a slot and show up.
Okay.
All right,
All right then.
best of luck.
Thank you.
All right, take care, everybody.
Take care.
Thank you.
See you.
See you.
See you.